packed panel discussion with few expertise from the entrepreneurship world. Before we move on, I would like to give a brief introduction about Mr. Vijay Varada. It is with great pleasure and excitement that I stand before you today to introduce our esteemed speaker, Mr. Vijay Varada, a man of many talents. Mr. Varada is an author, TEDx speaker, a mechatronics engineer, and an entrepreneur who is passionate about empowering creation and innovation. Hailing from the vibrant city of Bengaluru in Karnataka, India, Mr. Varada is the CEO and founder of Fracktal Works. He embarked on this entrepreneurial journey at the age of 19, showcasing his remarkable vision and determination. Fracktal Works has since become a leading provider of 3D printers, catering to a wide range of industries, including medicine, automotive, aerospace, architecture, and education. What sets Mr. Varada apart is his ability to seamlessly blend science, design, and engineering. He brings together these diverse disciplines to deliver unique products and solutions that push the boundaries of what is possible. His creative problem-solving skills, coupled with his deep understanding of technology and innovation, have garnered him accolades and acclaim. Not only does Mr. Varada revolutionize industries, but he also actively contributes to open source hardware projects. His passion for making a positive impact is evident in his work on assistive technologies for the visually impaired and renewable energy solutions. In fact, his groundbreaking 3D printable wind turbine, developed in collaboration with renowned polar explorer Robert Swan, showcased the might of open source hardware and its potential to shape a better world. Beyond his entrepreneurial ventures, Mr. Varada is a sought-after author and TEDx speaker. He has authored books in multiple languages, all with aim at advancing the cause of innovative engineering. His ability to captivate audience with his insightful talks has made him a respected figure in the world of technology and entrepreneurship. Today, we have the incredible opportunity to join Mr. Vijay Varada on his inspiring journey. He combines his passion for sustainability with a love for technology, paving the way for endless possibilities and breakthroughs. By connecting with him, we open ourselves to a world of innovation and collaboration. I warmly welcome Mr. Vijay Raghav to please take over the dais.
So, just to start with, I want to say that none of you can become entrepreneurs. You're a student, you cannot become an entrepreneur. Weirdly enough, this was what I was told when I started. And just last month, we celebrated a 10-year anniversary of the company I founded. So, just to sort of give you an understanding of where this 10-year journey came from, I thought I would sort of give you more context and share my own journey as an entrepreneur. My childhood started fairly normally, just like everybody else, but with one small problem. Nobody would buy me any toys. As a kid, not getting any toys was a big problem. That's because most of them ended up like this. Whenever I got something for my birthday, or my parents gave me, or neighbor, auntie gave me something, I would rip it apart and break it apart and see how things work. So I was a really curious kid, and I really wanted more toys so that I ripped them apart. I went to my dad, him being a very smart man, he had a solution saying that I could have anything in the world with one small catch. I had to build it myself. And this sort of took me onto an entire new journey of creating and making. And while I was creating, I felt like Dexter. And he was sort of my childhood inspiration. When growing up, I wanted to be like Dexter. I wanted to wear a lab coat. I wanted to build things. I wanted to build robots. I wanted to save the world. So when I grew up, there's obviously one thing that you need to study and become some Dexter. So I decided to become an engineer. Credit my father, interesting way to sort of trick me into getting into engineering. But the first thing that I realized when I came to engineering college is that engineers don't wear lab coats. I'm not sure what is the scene at RIT, but at MIT where I studied, the mechanical engineers had to sort of wear these I don't know, it looked like auto driver uniforms to go and to go work in the workshops. But nevertheless, I did get to sort of work on a lot of robots, and most of my time first was spent in building mechatronic systems, robotics, all because again, when I don't know if parents still tell their children this, but when I was studying 12th standard, my parents said, you pay attention in 10th, you pay attention in 12th, get good marks. Once you get into college, do whatever you want. Marks don't matter. I took that seriously. Do parents still say that?
Yes.
What a lie. Yeah, I mean, but whenever my parents would sort of say, why did you get only 6.57 in SCGPA, then you only said no, like marks don't matter once you were in college. So anyway, one of these projects that I was working on was very interesting. It was a brain-controlled robot. It had a headset that would take EEG value, that is the signals that your brain produces, processes it, and sort of was driving a little robot around. And I was just doing this for fun, but interestingly enough, my college got interested in this, saying that why don't you set up a company around it, do something interesting. I was at that point, I was in second year, I didn't have anything to do, so I'm like, okay fine, so dekhte hain. At that point of time, I wanted to sort of take the normal route of doing a master's, probably working in the US, get into a big robotics company. My dream was to work at Boston Dynamics at that point of time. So I'm like, okay fine, I'm in my second year. This sounds like a good opportunity. Worst case or best case scenario is that my CV will look much better because I've tried out entrepreneurship. So I went ahead with it and decided that, okay, fine, let's build a wheelchair for the paraplegic, which can be operated with their brain signals. And that is where sort of I hit certain roadblocks when I was building this product, because it went from time pass projects that I was going to now building a product that I had to give to a customer. And that is where sort of at that point in time, all my robots were built out of different boxes, broken pieces of metal, plywood, and things like that. But whenever I went to large industries to ask them for help, they would never take me seriously because I was just a student. That is when I learned about this technology called 3D printing that was just picking up popularity, and the concept of open source, where a lot of the know-how, documentation about building things was shared openly online. And I really got into 3D printing because of this. And learning from the internet, I built my own first 3D printer with the intention to use it to build this robot for the paraplegic. What ended up happening, because again I was very scatterbrained, and obviously I was not taking this entire company thing seriously, I got excited with the 3D printer itself and completely left the brain controlled robot project and started working on the printer, because even though it was working, it wouldn't work very reliably. I had to literally sleep next to it, listening to sounds and wake up if something happened. And we were constantly improving it. So it was interesting where we would design and 3D print parts, upgrade parts on the printer itself, and upgrade the printer. And before our eyes, the printer was becoming better and better. And eventually sort of got to a stage where it itself sort of became a product. And all around the college, from the different departments, from biomedical, from architecture, from engineering, they would come and with their project ideas, and they were starting to actually pay me money. And that was weird. As an entrepreneur, it did not, or when I started the company, it didn't click only that somebody starts a company to make money. But once you actually start getting money in hand, that is where things really start changing. So we got a lot of excitement. I got to show some of the work that we did with 3D printing to the then President Abdul Kalam, and he said, "I will make sure that whatever you build, whatever technology you build, makes it to people that it is meant to be." And he told me an interesting story actually. So I remember just during here, weirdly enough, we were told not to take autographs, but I was not. I didn't hear that probably, so I actually just asked him for the autograph. He looked at me for a second and then sort of went into this entire story. He said, at his time at ISRO, he was working on these carbon fiber composites, and obviously that was very interesting or very inspiring to see that go up in a rocket and add value to the company, to the country. It's like, but the real pride as an engineer came when that same technology he was building with composites was being used by leprosy patients, because at that point in time they had very heavy tools to sort of use to eat food, to carry things, and this carbon-fiber composites were useful to them to make their lives easier. And that was really something that he was inspired by as an engineer. And he told me that make sure that a true value of engineering is when you build products and make sure it reaches the people that it's meant for. And I think that is sort of what fundamentally engineering is. And I think engineering and entrepreneurship sort of go hand in hand, because ultimately engineers build technology for people. Okay, scientists sort of develop core technologies, core science, but our responsibility as engineers is to bring that to people and solve problems on the world. And honestly, that just sounds like entrepreneurship. So I believe that engineers are already almost half entrepreneurs. So anyway, that is when by this time I was in the third year of college, and I became an accidental entrepreneur. We were now building printers. We were doing our 3D printing was helping us sort of manufacture as well. We had one printer built parts for the second printer, so we made two became four became 8. This way, after classes we would meet up and build printers and start selling them. And that's sort of the inception of my company, Fracktal Works. So we've built, it's been 10 years since then, since we started. We've built we built printers for all sorts of applications. The reason why I am here also is because I came here for a sales, for negotiating with the purchase department, because we're setting up a 3D printer over here. So that's why ma'am sort of invited me, why don't you come over and talk. So MSRIT also is going to get one of our 3D printers. So at the same time, we've seen people do so amazing things with 3D printers, from architects building life-size installations, doctors building implants, parts that go onto a satellite or a space aircraft, parts that go into automobiles, and it's been a really interesting journey to see whatever we will actually being used by customers. And we have entire range of 3D printers right now, and for every sort of application, and our goal is to get 3D printing into production. And for me, again, my goal with 3D printing is sort of empowering people like me, where we were not helped by big industrialists to help start manufacturing, but 3D printing for me really represents democratization of manufacturing, where anybody can manufacture at a high quality, high level. And today, you as students have access to tools like these, not only in terms of 3D printing hardware, but software, electronics, where you can start building products with very little investment at the most highest quality possible and get to market as soon as possible. And I think that is what drives me to bring 3D printing forward to more customers and more people, and especially to engineering colleges, because it sort of gives access to so many people at one point in time. While obviously 3D printing is really cool and inspiring, me and my sort of unending curiosity, I still wanted to use 3D printing to solve problems myself. I didn't want to be left out myself. So on the side, in my free time, I sort of use 3D printing to give back however I can to the world. So smartphones are amazing and they enable us to do very interesting things. But by moving away from those button phones, your old Nokia phones, we left an entire a group of people behind. That is the visually impaired. So one of the projects that I was working on was to get this feedback, tactile feedback, and ability to use smartphones back to the visually impaired. And this is one of the projects that I was working on. It's basically a keyboard accessory that pairs along with your smartphone, and you type in braille. So you type a combination of buttons, and it sort of you're able to type in characters. And this was just a side project, but this got picked up by colors the TV channel, and we did an entire. They did had an episode on it.
I want you to close your eyes and reach for your smartphones. Now unlock your smartphones. Go to your dialer.
Okay.
And type in 100.
Oh my god, who am I calling? You're the most interesting engineer I've met.
I will always keep inventing and keep making things and keep doing things for the people, and because it's just addictive, the entire process is addictive. Being able to create something is addictive.
It's now time for the consumer test, where our focus group, a group of hand-picked individuals, will test these two products on their intuitiveness and their ease of usability.
ये ब्रेल पैड है, आप दोनों हाथ से ऐसे पकड़ेंगे, दोनों हाथ से पकड़िए। ये 6 चीज़ हैं, ये 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6। अगर आपने दबाया तो एंटर हुआ।
और ये डिलीट है।
हाँ, 6 के नीचे डिलीट। और ये टॉप की है ऑल्ट।
It was really great to see them using it.
Can I write my name?
Yes, you can write your name.
Capital R, capital O, capital H, capital I, capital T.
When I touch the keyboard, I feel it is a mini keyboard, so it is very easy to access. Because of voice assistant, you can type fast.
I'll write cat because I like cats.
Yes.
Capital C, capital A, capital T.
ब्रेल कीबोर्ड बहुत इजी है, वो बहुत इजीली यूज़ कर सकते थे, दोनों ने बहुत इजीली यूज़ किया और कभी भी प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं हो सकता है, वो लोग मोबाइल भी इजीली यूज़ कर सकते हैं ब्रेल कीबोर्ड्स।
So interestingly enough, how this idea came to me. I was at a conference. My uncle works with UNESCO, so he invited me for this conference with persons with disabilities, where it was mostly about policy for persons with disabilities. And I was having lunch with somebody who was blind, and we had this great conversation. At the end, when we were exchanging numbers, I noticed how difficult it was for her to use her smartphone. And it was weird that this was back in 2018, that we are living in 2018 and all of this high tech is there, but how is it so difficult for this person to use a smartphone? And when I inquired more, and then I understood that the normal QWERTY keyboard on a smartphone is very difficult for somebody to use who is visually impaired. So and that is where this idea for building a device for the visually impaired came in. And this is just an example of I think good ideas that can come from anywhere. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You can just have an open mind, seeing problems in and around your society, in and around your environment. And what makes you an entrepreneur is just that willingness to say, okay, I am going to be the one to solve this problem and bring it to market. So again, it's on YouTube, this entire episode if you want to see. I also, all this work that I do on the side, I also release it open source, because open source has also given me so much with the ability to build my own company. And I give back by releasing all of these projects open source. So if you want to build your own braille keypad, everything is online, and you can do so for if you have somebody in your immediate vicinity who's visually impaired. Similarly, other companies and other projects have taken up. This is an entire smartphone itself that has this the braille technology built in. I'm also a very passionate environmentalist. 5-6 people in my company cycle to work, but I wanted to do more. And that's when I met Sir Robert Swan, who was the first person to walk to both North Pole and South Pole. And he takes a group of individuals to Antarctica, the South Pole, every year, basically to see polar ice caps melting and see the impact of climate change firsthand, and to see what people can do to educate more people about climate change. And I was selected amongst a group of the most amazing people. I'm right there somewhere in the middle, to go to Antarctica. And with my background as an engineer, as an entrepreneur, and with 3D printing, I wanted to sort of create story around this so that I can inspire more engineers to work on these pressing problems of climate change. So I wanted to use Antarctica as a platform, and I built this open source wind turbine as fourth year students to get into renewable energy, to build their own technology, to get into open source design so that they can look at opportunities and education and jobs in sustainable energy in the future. And by this, I set up the world's first 3D printed wind turbine in Antarctica, and it sort of helped us power all our electronics when we were there at the South Pole. And again, interestingly, there are a lot of penguins around in the South Pole, and because they don't have any land predators, they are very curious and they come up to you. So the biggest danger, even though I designed the thing to withstand the sub-zero temperatures and gale force winds, I did not foresee penguins be one of the biggest problems. They would come and tug on the wires and get things loose. And again, this also became an example of, even though it was my story setting up the wind turbine, but so many people from the expedition helped me out, set things up. And it became an example of how when you are doing something for people, you will get support from unexpected places. And as an entrepreneur, when you are solving a real problem, as an engineer when you're solving a real problem, it is always much better to do it together, and you will be able to get so much more further, because 1 plus 1 is so much more than 2 when it comes down to when people come and work together. And similarly, in my company as well, it wouldn't be possible to get where I am and survive these 10 years without a great team of people that sort of help me every single day. And I think the lesson that I want you to take away from this, if you are interested in becoming an entrepreneur, even though we speak about it in singular terms, I am an entrepreneur, I am the CEO, it is not possible without building a community, a team, even within your friends, to work together toward a common vision to solve it. And honestly, the future needs fixing, and we can only do it together. And I believe the best way to predict the future is to create it. When I first became an engineer, I realized engineers don't wear lab coats, but at Fracktal Works, we do. So yeah, that is my time. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. And anyway, before we take questions afterwards, so thanks so much.